everybody, this is the Empowered Joyful Living series. We are here at 2004 Pool Drive in Huntsville, Alabama. So this is a series of webinars. We're doing it with the seasons. We're doing it where it's really a group of us, 4 of us, that are coming together. We're each showing the different modalities and the ways that we really approach spirituality in different times of the year. Today is Happy Holidays with 3 question marks, really talking about the stress of the season and how we can really enjoy this actual holiday season, really kind of make it a celebratory season, and rather be one that we really are not really enjoying too much. So I'm Pete Casaboon. I'm the Angel Encourager. I work with Archangels. We also have Melissa Posey with us tonight. We have Cassandra Stone King, and we have Mary Catherine Honeycutt with us tonight. We're all going to be talking about, like I say, the different ways that we really approach spirituality to really help us to enjoy every time of the year. And this time of the year, I think it's really important. There's a lot of energy that's going on. There's a lot of we're spending a lot of time with different people. And so I think it's a time that if we can really learn how to harness our energy and really express it in the good way, a way that actually helps us, that we can really find a way to really celebrate this time of the year and really start or really end this year in a great note, so that we're not all having to really start over for January, because there's so much about starting over the new year and really having to start fresh. We can actually start it early and start off the new year with an absolute bang. So I'm going to go ahead and let one of the other ladies come forward. Cassandra, are you about ready, sweetheart?
Yeah.
Okay, so Cassandra Stone King is going to come up here, and she's going to start her part of the series, and we will see you in just a moment.
Hey everybody, good evening. Another Friday here at Empowered Living. I just want to say, I hope everybody's having a really productive holiday season. And the reason, look at this. And the reason that we're here is to give you a little bit of relief with that incredible stress and ridiculous nonsense that the holidays bring around. I know that the family get-togethers, there's nothing more stressful than family, having people come back and forth to your house. So what I'm going to do today is to give you a tool that is going to help you clear the air, let's say. Something that is going to help raise your energetic vibrations, cleanse you off. When you get those holiday blues and are feeling sad, we all go through feelings of loss and depression when it comes to the time of the year where family usually gathers and memories are made. When you get to the angry bits, when Aunt Sally's making those comments about, politics or religion you might not necessarily agree with. You need something to cool you down a little bit, put you back in the moment and get yourself going. On top of that, when you have all these people in your house, things can get a little crazy and all of that energy could be left. So what I'm going to introduce you today is our Espiritismo's absolute favorite is Florida water. This water it's a clone actually, it's been around since the 1800s. And the reason that we use it, it's made of water and flower essential oils and alcohol. And all the little bits come together for a wonderful pick-me-up. And what we do with it is we take a little bit of it and use it in our aura. Now, like we were talking about before, the outside of us carries energy particles, and sometimes, depending on our mood, it could be something that we're severely lacking, like joy and happiness, and it could end up getting filled with anger, resentment, or just a blah mood. And we don't need that when we're walking into a party or walking into a family get-together. So what this wonderful product does, when taken on our hands or spritzed in the air, it helps dissipate the negative ions, the little negative particles that gather and cause these negative emotional feelings. It could also be used, for spiritual attachments and things like that, but that's not really what we're focusing on today. So, Florida water. Let's do, MK or Pete, does somebody want to come up here so I could show them how to use it? I know. Today's one of those days where we're kind of like, hey, all right. I don't have a little table, it's hard. So what we do with this wonderful stuff, and it smells delicious, is we take a little bit on our hands, all nice and wet, and we take it on the top of our aura and bring it down and just take everything off, flick it off, just grab it, pull it, and get rid of it all. Mm-hmm. We put some on the back of our neck. We can put some on our cheeks or on our forehead to help cool us down. And what we do is we're very literally grabbing all of the nasty and all of the gross, detrimental, nasty bits and taking it and throwing it off of us and throwing it away. Yeah, it's fine. I know it's kind of hard without a table. Again, we're feeling this out. We're trying to get everything so we're less up and down. And that's one way of using it for yourself. Also, what I do, and I know it's a Febreze bottle, you can take an empty used water bottle. I use Febreze because it already smells good, and add Florida water or holy water to it, and just spritz it in the air and clear everything out. You could do this before a party, after a party. If you're like me and you have kids, you can go ahead and spray them down with it. Actually, animals as well.
Would you cut it with water? Or
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is that because it is mostly water with some slight alcohol and herbal essences, that you can use it direct. If you're going to cut it with water, I would cut it with purified water. Just because it's going on fabrics and on your person and you don't want to cause water stains. I mean, nobody wants that on their party dress. But there are plenty of uses for this as well. Say somebody is coming in and they're bringing something into your house and you know that they might not have the best intentions or the best energy to go along with it. You can go ahead and wash it down with this. You could add a little bit to your front door if you're having a party with open-minded people. Some people might think it's a little different, but you could add it to a little bit of rosemary at the front of your door and allow people to cleanse themselves off before they walk in. We do that with our spiritual events all the time. I want to say a little bit more, but to be honest, this is really simple. The one thing that we have to remember, though, is that this holiday season is hard for everybody. And it gets a little tumultuous when we walk into a situation when we already have preconceived ideas about the people or the events that are going to occur. It causes problems for us, and it causes problems for the room that we walk into. You know, we set the tone for ourselves, and we set the tone for everybody else that joins us for whatever particular event. By cleansing yourself off and being responsible enough for your own intents and your own emotions, or setting a intent to go forward into something that you already know is going to be stressful for you, with a positive and at least a hopeful disposition, you're already creating an entirely new possibility for yourself for that evening. When you're at home and you're feeling upset and you know that this is going to happen, I mean, let's face it, this comes around every year. This isn't new for any of us. You know, and we are sitting there and we hear that song or that mood comes over us or we start missing our family. We owe it to ourselves to take the responsibility to take control of the energy that we're creating for ourselves. Now, when we have tools such as Florida water, significantly easy, you can find it anywhere from Amazon to Walmart to your local drugstore, or of course your Botanica. You find something this easy and a tool this easy, there's really no reason to be able to not help yourself. You know, in order to move forward and manifest change for yourself in your life, you have to take responsibility and seek out those tools that are going to help you move forward in a more intense and positive manner. I mean, let's face it, none of us deserve to walk around feeling upset or to get hot-headed over something very simple, words that somebody else said, or the mere presence of another person. We don't deserve that, and neither does anybody else. So in order to repair those situations, taking something as simple as this in a little travel bottle with you, or leaving it in a Febreze bottle by the side of your couch, is already something that you're doing, an intent that you're putting forward that I don't like the way this makes me feel, and I'm not going to stay here. I'm going to change things for myself. And you know what? I'm going to change things for you because you matter to me. So really, what we're doing by implementing tools such as Florida water, holy water, or different spiritual clones to help break up the negative energy on ourselves is we are telling ourselves that we are worth more than this depression or this anger or this uncomfortable situation that we keep putting ourselves in time and time again. You know, we're valuable. and our feelings are valid. But something needs to change. We can't keep manifesting the same situations for ourselves over and over again. You know, and if there's a Febreze bottle or a nice little spray bottle, you can accidentally spray somebody at the dining room table. They're causing some problems and be like, oh, I'm so sorry, it's okay, it smells great. At least that's what I do. But you have control over the situation. And it's a powerful tool. All I'm saying is just try it once. Go get yourself a bottle, it's like $3.50, and see what it does for you. Take control over your life. Manifest something different for yourself. On top of being able to clean out your spiritual energy, one of the great things about Florida water is it draws in positive spiritual influences. It allows your higher self and your guards, your guides, your spiritual court, it gives them room to be able to move forward and put you in that hug that you really need at that point, and be able to protect you and let you know that it's okay, and be able to give you that sense of stability and of understanding that you needed the entire time. There's no reason to move forward without being able to have that clarity and that understanding when you are already moving in a really stressful situation. You know, your mind has to be clear, and your thoughts need to be present with what's happening in order for you to, you know, not want to drink too much and be like the YouTube sensation of the family for 2016. You know, we've all had that, or maybe I've just been that person. But, you know, we're not perfect. We need help, and it's okay. It's okay to say that. I'm Cassandra Stone King, and if you need any information on anything about wonderful Florida water, energy cleansing, or moving into the holidays in a less stressful and a more joyous manner, more compassionate manner, then you can find me under Cassandra Stone King on Facebook, and I'm working on a website that should be done this next week, so hopefully I'll have that for you next time. I do believe that is just about it, at least for right now. So again, if you have any questions, any concerns, or any comments about it, please let me know. I appreciate you and the time that you've taken to stay here with us and to listen to all these magnificent things. Everybody here that's coming to talk to you is wanting to give you a tool to be able to manifest a different situation, a different destiny, a different circumstance for yourself going into this new year. So I suggest to at least come into it with an open mind. Take some notes, write down a little bit of something, and do something for yourself, because you deserve it. You're valuable, and we love you.
Thank you, Cassandra. That was amazing, as usual. Okay, Mary Catherine Hennicutt has got some interesting things to talk to us about, so I'm really interested to hear. So y'all listen.
Thank you, Pete. I'm Mary Catherine Honeycutt, and I've brought me some notes this time so I can kind of stay on track a little bit. We really appreciate y'all tuning in to our Empowered Joyful Living series. Like he said, this is going to be once a month, so we're really gearing up for the holidays right now. So we're kind of in the throes. We've got Thanksgiving behind us, but you know the biggies are coming up. You know, Christmas, and so many expectations from family and friends and what you do during this time. So I'm going to set my notes down real quick, and what we're doing is we're actually getting together a little holiday stress pack, which can also be used during any time of year, but we've got it for the holidays specifically, and my contribution to that is what I'm calling a stress talisman. And what I've done is I've actually gotten a few stones. Now, I am by far not the crystal guru, but Melissa can answer your questions about all that. But I've actually gotten together some of the stones that I'll typically use during a stressful time and kind of put them together for you into a little talisman that you can hide in your pocket, that you can hang in your car, you can put in your purse, whatever you want to do. And it's got a little card that comes with it. And so basically, I'm going to just kind of go over what the card says and then get into what I was going to discuss that will hopefully empower you and help you have a really good holiday season, especially around your family and the people that typically might stress you out during that time. But okay, so what I have for you is, it starts by saying, when you need a little help getting through, hold this and let the stones work for you, because that's basically what stones, any kind of tool, is for. It's to help you do what you need to do, get through what you need to get through, help manifest anything that you want to manifest. And manifesting also includes you, like your emotions, taking responsibility, just like Cassandra said. Take responsibility for yourself and how you feel. Nobody makes you feel any way. And that's having a master's in counseling in the state of Alabama equates social work when you actually get out into the field. So I've actually dealt with a lot of people in their homes, and during this time of year, it was always especially stressful for everybody. And what you start seeing, the longer you do that and the more houses you go into, is you start to see patterns, familial patterns, and patterns that go on in everybody's life. So as there are patterns that everybody shares, we have tools that everybody can use. So this, I put an affirmation on the card, and it says, I am calm, balanced, grounded, and safe. Because I always think that's important, because the calmer you are and the more balanced you are, especially the more grounded you are, the better decisions that you make, and the better you can actually see situations for what they are. They just are what they are. Acceptance is really the key to getting through a lot of these things. For me, like he said, we all kind of come from a different angle. So we hope that we can reach most of you out there, one of us or several of us, by the angles that we come about things or go about things from. I have included green garnet, fluorite, moonstone, and black tourmaline, and a tree of life on the talisman. The green garnet helps emotional balance. It brings in a voice of reason, and it also brings fun back to stressed relationships. And you're going to run into those stressed relationships, because all the rest of the year you can avoid it. But this is when everybody wants to get together. And so it'll bring that fun back, that kind of youthful fun back to the relationship. Fluorite is calm and stable. It brings order to chaos, and Lord knows the holidays can get some chaos going. And it harmonizes scattered energy, because there's going to be kids, there's going to be babies, there's going to be adults, there's going to be the elders of the family, and so it's all going to be going on. Everybody's going to be on their phone or on their tablet. Everybody's going to be watching the game. Everybody wants everybody to hush. Go outside. So there's going to be scattered energy everywhere. So what fluorite does is it helps kind of bring that together and calm it down. At minimum, it'll help you deal with it and calm yourself down. Moonstone promotes safe travel, which a lot of us will be traveling during this time. It helps give you a barrier, kind of a barrier of protection. It also promotes a positive attitude. Who doesn't need that? Black tourmaline, which that is always my go-to stone. I love black tourmaline because it is grounding, it's highly protective, it soothes panic. I don't know about you, but sometimes when I have people coming over my house, I get into a panic. And it protects against emotional vampires. What's an emotional vampire? Somebody that comes in that kind of plugs into the ones that feel really good and kind of sucks that energy out of you, and it feeds themselves. Do they need to do it? No. Do people know when they do it? Most of the time they don't. So that helps you not be the person that they're sucking from. They're not getting their energy from you unless you just want to. The tree of life, I added that to help remind us of the interconnectedness of all that is. When we see ourselves as connected to the earth, to other humans, to all that is, it is easier for us to treat them and treat others like we want to be treated. So that is my contribution to our stress kit. So I started out with the joy of the holidays, because that's what everybody promotes. But we know that behind all that joy is a little bit of stress. Somebody's got to be cooking. Somebody's going to be cleaning like crazy and having everybody over to their house, and other people are traveling. You're going there. So you're going to be around the people that you love. So not only does that bring back all the good memories, but it also brings back the trials and the deaths and the hardships. And you can't help it, because when you have that kind of deep emotional attachment to people, that's just what it's about. It's the ups and the downs. But that's what makes life fun. When you bring people together, like we said, it's the good and the bad and the ugly. But we're the ones that qualify these things. You know, things really just happen. We're the ones that label them as good or bad, right or wrong. So we have to remember that that's our doing. They just are. Things just happen. That's life. So when we start qualifying things, then we get into that mode of expectation. You know, we're going to expect Uncle Joey to act a certain way. We're going to expect Aunt Edna to act a certain way. And we just can't stand it. Well, we choose to do that. We choose to get into that, I just can't stand this mode. We don't have to do that. We can empower ourselves to change. I really enjoyed, when I was traveling a lot, I started listening to books on tape. And M. Scott Peck was an author that I really enjoyed listening to. And he's the one that wrote The Road Less Traveled, but I don't think I got this particular quote from that one. But he had a story about the holidays, and he came up with, change the way you see things, and the things you see will change. So if you go into a situation expecting the same thing to happen, more than likely the same thing will happen. You know, Uncle so-and-so is going to say something that's going to make you mad because you don't agree with a lot of stuff, politics or whatever, all these taboo things you're not supposed to talk about, that inevitably somebody will. So if you go, I'm going to use him as an example. He said that his wife's family, they always go to Christmas, and there was this one uncle she had that he just couldn't stand. He'd always cuss at the TV, and bring up stuff nobody else wanted to talk about, made everybody uncomfortable. And so he would always get uncomfortable and say something to them. They'd ultimately get into it. And he just decided this year it just wasn't going to happen. So that's when he came up with, it's me that is seeing this in him, and I don't have to react that way. So what he chose to do is to not only go into it with a different attitude, but he just wasn't going to let, Uncle so-and-so say stuff. Whatever he said, it wouldn't matter. He wasn't going to get upset. He could watch whatever he wanted to on TV. He wouldn't care. So, and he said that was actually the best holiday that he ever had with her family. Ultimately, the uncle didn't say that much that upset him that particular year. And then he decided not to get upset. So you can empower yourself to do these things. Sometimes like Cassandra said, take a responsibility for yourself. And this means for everything. When I did that, when I decided to take my power back and to take responsibility for myself and everything I've ever done, every situation I've ever been in, not only the situation where I rear-ended somebody, but the situation that somebody else rear-ended me. That was my fault too. Why? I was there. There was some reason why I was there. I was in that car in that situation. They hit me. I'm there. Part of that is my responsibility too. It's very empowering. It can be very scary because on one side, you got to take responsibility for everything. It's empowering. The flip side of that, you got to take responsibility for everything. And that's scary. But if you can move through it and do it, you can realize that you have all the control. over you. You can't control Aunt Edna. You can't control Uncle Johnny. Because they're going to do whatever they want to do. Because you know what, if you could, they wouldn't be acting like that. Your kids wouldn't be acting like they do. Mama would let you do whatever you wanted. So the bottom line is you can't. You can only control yourself. You can only control how you feel about certain things. And you can change it. Okay, so I went through the MSCOT PAC. I capitalized on what Cassandra said. Okay. I always, in these situations, especially when I feel like I'm going to get stressed or when there's expectations that I place on myself, I start listening to the Tao. I like to listen to the Tao Te Ching every so often. And part of that is, one of the sayings is, see the world as yourself and have faith in the way things are. One of my family members came to me and talked to me about a situation that they were in. And they wanted to know how they could change it. You know, they just couldn't stand it anymore. They wanted to change it because their sibling or somebody was disruptive and all that. The only thing I could assist with is saying, let it go. You can't control it. They are choosing to have that situation in their home. You're choosing to be there. But I don't this, but I don't that. Well, I mean, you know, you can say all that all day long, but the bottom line is you chose to be there. And they're choosing to let it happen. You cannot control that. Acceptance. Acceptance of what is. You can let go a lot of stress by doing that. You cannot take on other people's crosses. You've got your own to bear. Life happens. Let life happen to other people. Let them experience their own consequences. You are. And that's the way it should be. You should experience your own consequences. Everything you put out, you're going to get back. Everything they put out, they're going to get back. You don't need to get mixed up in that. So don't. I'm not saying you shouldn't help. If you can. If you see a situation that you just need to help and you can help, do. Go over there and do what you can and then leave it alone. If you see a situation that you just can't stand and you just want to help, but you can't do anything, don't, because you're not supposed to. Let God handle it. This is all His creation. And we're just there. If you cannot help in that situation, don't blame yourself. You're not supposed to. Let it play out. Let somebody else help. You just do what you can. Love the world and yourself. Then you can care for all things a lot easier. Acceptance of what is the key. So remember, be you, control you, take responsibility for you. Let everybody else do the same. All right, I'm done. Well, for now. All right. And here is Pete. Woo-hoo.
Thank you, Mary Catherine. That was excellent. All right. So again, I'm Pete Cuspin, the Angel Encourager. So I'm going to talk a little bit about angelic energy here at this time. I've been asking today, which archangel wants to really come forth. There's a few archangels I really work with, and about 15. And I always ask which one wants to come forth. And today, Archangel Gabriel would like to come forth. Archangel Gabriel is known really kind of famously as the archangel in the Bible that called forth the birth of John the Baptist and of Jesus. So I think it's very appropriate that Archangel Gabriel would come forth at this time. Archangel Gabriel really talks about fertility and new beginnings. It doesn't necessarily have to do with babies, but really if you think about the idea of what Christmas is all about, it really is about new beginnings, because traditionally this is the time, at least in the Christian world, that we really celebrate the birth of Christmas. Now I would like to also kind of just give homage to how this time of the year is actually a culmination of a number of different celebrations. It's really, to be honest with you, it was a little bit hijacked by the Christian community, and I know this is probably going to piss some people off, but that's just the truth. It was very much a pagan celebration, of this time of the year. With it being near the winter solstice, it was a time That's what the wreath was all about, the tree, and that's okay. We can take any type of tradition or celebration that we want to and really kind of make it whatever it is. But anyway, Archangel Gabriel, who is she's the cardinal angel of the West and also the elemental angel of water, is coming forth now to really help us to find celebration. I think it's really amazing that she is the elemental angel of water, because if you really think about it, water is is actually the most plentiful, I would say, substance that we have on earth. So it's really talking about the abundance. It's talking really about what's available to us. So I'd like to talk a little bit about receiving and giving, which is really, what this time of year is really about. This is a yin and a yang universe. And when I say that, what I mean is that there's an opposite energy for every energy that's there. That's what keeps us in balance. And so when I say that, I talk about how in the world we've so heard about how it's so divine to give. We're supposed to just give and give and give and give. Well, that also means it's divine to receive. So I want you to take that in there, and I want you to really kind of own that. And before I even get off the subject of giving, I want to make really sure that everybody understands, in the spirit of giving, the very first person that you should give to is yourself. Because if you're not giving to others out of your overflow, then what you're doing is you're giving out of a sense of, I'm going to give this person something in exchange for something that they give me back. Because if you're giving out of something that you need, you're really expecting something back. And when you do that, you're not really expressing out of a space of unconditional love. And anything that comes from the heart that isn't really from that space, and really when you're giving and you're expecting something back, it's not in the true sense of giving, and you're really robbing from yourself. And to be honest with you, you can't function from that space, because when you're robbing yourself of an energy, whatever it is, whether it's abundance or it's time or it's effort or anything like that, when you're robbing yourself of that space, robbing yourself of something that you need for yourself, you're not really doing any good for anyone else. And I know all of us have situations where we've given something to someone else and they didn't appreciate it and just kind of threw it away. So, and that happens, it happens when people have the sense of the value that you give something. And what I'm saying from that is that if you truly honor yourself and you honor your own gifts, then you're actually going to be a little bit thoughtful before you give things away. And when you approach who you are and you approach your energy in that way, then when you do give something to someone else, they're going to value it even more. So that's if you really want people, if you've had people in the past who haven't valued something that you've given, realize that comes from a space of where you haven't given true value for your own gifts. So the first space is to really give of yourself, and what I talk a lot about traditions in that, really start looking at traditions and start asking yourself, is this something that really feeds me? I always think back, and this is probably a little bit of a Debbie Downer, but I always think back when I think about traditions. In 1854, they had a cholera outbreak in London, and they couldn't figure out what was happening. They couldn't figure out why these people were getting sick. And there was one woman who was following this tradition that was actually the reason they found out. And her tradition was, she had moved out of the neighborhood, but her tradition was she wanted water from this one well. So every day she would send somebody to this well to gather water for her. So she was the one anomaly in the statistics that she got sick and she didn't live in the neighborhood. And they figured out it had to be from the water. And when I speak of this, what I'm saying to you, thank goodness for the wonderful gift she gave the world, because we figured out about cholera. But what I'm really saying about this is how she had this tradition of having to have this water from this one particular place, and was that really serving her? So what I want to ask for you is, I want to ask, are the traditions that you follow, are the traditions that your family follow, are they truly serving you in this space? Start really looking at those and realize that traditions can change. You can so totally change traditions. I'd also like to say that from the LGBTQ community, most of us have created our own families, or we have altered our own families. So I want you to realize that if you go back to the very core of, in fear you destroy, and in joy you create. So what I'm saying for you for that is, decide who your family really is. I had a client that told me, she said, I can only stand to be around my mother for a couple hours, and then it goes to tank. And we started talking about the holidays and how she'd have to spend the whole day there. And I said, what if you only spent 2 hours with her on the holiday? What would happen? And it was like, she had only seen option A and maybe option B, and hadn't realized that there was C, D, E, F, and G that she could take. And how about if she structured her day around, she was only around this particular person, that she could only handle for a couple hours. What if she only was around them for a couple hours? And then she could stay in that joyful state. And it wouldn't be like, because usually what will happen if you can handle them around 2 hours, you know what's going to happen around hour 1 or around hour and a half. You know that you're about to start dreading hour 2. So you're not even really in a joyful state, really all the way through those 2 hours. But if you're in a state of where I'm about to step out of this, you can actually probably stay in joy for about 4 hours. And so what I really want to talk about also, before I get back into receiving, I want to talk about how, there are certain people that trigger you. I think Cassandra and Mary Catherine have already talked about this a little bit. And it's like we have these scripts. It's like we have these plays. This person walks up to you and they say, are you not pregnant yet? Are you not married yet? Have you gained 10 pounds? There's these things that they have. There's these triggers. And what happens is they say this to you, and then you have this script you say back to them, and then they have this script that they say back to you, and it's just this back and forth thing. So what I want you to do, because I want you to have real tools, because I call my angelic connection angels on the streets. And what I mean by that, it's not all this airy-fairy, it's not all the blue skies and all that kind of stuff. It's how can I use angelic energy in my every moment that I live. So I really, really ask the angels, okay, give me real tools these people can use. So what I want you to do in those periods where you're being triggered, I want you to come up with a new script. And I always tell my clients, I tell them, in those states, before it becomes like an automatic thing for you, come up with a line. Come up with a line you use. It could be something like, aren't you cute? Or here in the South, and a lot of Southern women, when they hear something, they say, well, isn't that a funny thing you said? And when Southern women say that, that's not what they're saying. They're really saying something completely different. So find yourself that word, that statement that you can make in those moments that you're triggered. And it can really be great if it can be a statement that actually makes you giggle a little bit when you laugh at it. And what happens then is you can actually get excited about those triggers coming up. And one of two things will happen. Either the trigger will never come up, or you're going to have a lot of fun saying it. And what happens is when that does happen, they say their thing, and then you say a new thing. You can see it completely changes the script, because you are the director of your own play. It's up to you to decide, am I the leading actor or am I a bit player? Which one am I in this? Because really, this is a master's class that we're in. Life is a master's class. And when I say that, I mean two things. Number one, it ain't that darn important, because this is not the end all. Number one. Number two, what I want you to do is I want you to start looking at situations that feel the same. I want you to start looking at circumstances that remind you of other circumstances, and start being mindful of who you usually are, your normal go-to in that situation. Start asking yourself, this is usually how I feel, and this is usually how I react, and then this is the result. And ask yourself honestly, in a non-judgmental way, is that what I want to have in this situation? I know for me, as I've become mindful, it's like I'm in this fifth dimension. I'm looking down at this interesting little creature, Pete, and I see the words going from here right down to here. And I'm like, I know what I'm about to say. And I say to myself, now the last time I said that, this is what happened. Is that what I want to have happen again? And you have choices. You have choices of using different words. You have choices of using no words at all. It's completely up to you who you are in that situation. What I want you to do, I want you to start playing with life. If you start saying, like when you're taking a test, if say it's a multiple choice test, and this is a test where you never actually really scored, and where you get to take it over and over and over again. It's almost like Groundhog Day, where he had to keep doing the day over and over again, and finally it was when he got it to that right point that all the wheels lined up and he got to go on. And that's exactly what life is like. So start taking those similar situations and decide, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to try a different thing. I'm going to be a different person in this situation. I'm going to say a different thing, and I'm going to act a different way, and I'm going to see what happens. And you're going to be really surprised at how it moves you in a different space. We so think about how every situation is unique, and it is in its own way, but at the same time, you can so start asking yourself, how do I feel in this situation? And is this similar to how I felt in another situation? Start using that as, like I say, as a master's class to realize how you can be, that different creature, in a different place. And speaking of the power of the words, by our words we either grow or we kill, one or the other. So it's so much about our power of our words and how we really express. So I guess I want to get back to really giving and receiving. Like I said before, if it's divine to give, it's also divine to receive. So number one is you want to make sure that you're always giving out of your overflow. You want to fill yourself up first. Because what happens is as you take care of yourself, we are these vessels. We are these vessels filled with spirit. And our body, mind, spirit system is really built to be filled with love. But usually, and really for all of us, we can't completely fill ourselves with love. So our nature abhors a vacuum, so we fill ourselves with something. And what we fill ourselves with is fear, worry, anxiety, doubt, depression, or whatever it happens to be. And as we learn to really take care of ourselves and fill ourselves with more love, the amazing thing is once we get to 51%, it becomes that magical thing that scientists have been looking for forever, the perpetual machine. And what the perpetual machine is this thing that once you get it started, it doesn't stop. And I'm going to tell you, we've discovered what that perpetual machine is. That perpetual machine is love. If you start flowing love into yourself, what happens is you get so filled with it, you either explode or you have to pour it out to the world. And the amazing thing is, as you pour that love out to the world, it comes back to you. And two things happen. Two things happen when that happens. Number one, you start displacing that fear, anxiety, worry, doubt. There's other things besides love that you're filled with. You start displacing that. And you grow your capacity for more. So in other words, it's not only a perpetual machine, it's a perpetually expanding machine. And it's so amazing when you live from a space of joy and love and peace and tranquility, how it just casts forth into everything. And there's so many times that we really approach life almost like, I'm going to step into joy once I get that situation taken care of. It's almost like we want to clean the house before the maid comes. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is a yin and a yang universe. And what I mean by that is you are surrounded by 50% challenge and you're surrounded by 50% opportunity. You're surrounded by 50% joy and you're surrounded by 50% fear. It depends on what you want to focus on that comes forth. Because we in our minds cannot think of a fearful thought and a joyful thought at the same time. And I think I've probably spoken of it before, but I think it merits speaking of again, because I like to get a little physicky, because I have a math degree and I like physics a lot, and then science and that kind of thing. Because you hear about all this mindful stuff, which is wonderful in the different teachings that you have, but I like to really bring it home and really show you why this stuff really works. Because in our brain we have what's called a reticular activating system. We're surrounded by billions of points of data at any one time, and there's absolutely no way that we can take all that data in at once. So we have a reticular activating system, and what it does is it goes out into the world and it picks out all the points of data that correspond to what's relevant to us. Now the reticular activating system, just like spirit, does not give any judgment or any meaning to anything. So to the reticular activating system, what we would consider a joyful point is just a point, and what we would consider a fearful point is just a point. It's just the same thing. So how does the reticular activating system decide what is relevant to us? It decides what's relevant to us by seeing what we're thinking of, what we're believing, what we're expecting, what we're filling ourselves with. So when you are focusing on fear, your reticular activating system will go out there and pick every point of fear data that it can and put it into your receiving center. If you're focusing on joy and love, it'll go out there and pick every point of joy and love data that corresponds, and it'll put it into your receiving center. And that's the only thing you can process from, is right here. Well, let me kind of actually elaborate on that for just a second. When you're in a state where all you're thinking about are points of fear, you're so much in your mind right here. It's like you can be in a crowd of 3,000 people and feel completely alone. And the reason is because you've completely cut yourself off from the universal connection. Think of it like a radio station. To the higher realms, to the angels, the heavens, however you think of it, however you think of higher connection, they are always in a higher state of joy, always in a higher state of love. And if you're in a state of fear, you're simply on a different frequency. They're still there, you're still surrounded by love, you're still surrounded by angels, but it's like they're speaking a language that you can't hear, or they're in an opposite room that you can't even see them. So it's when you step into those states of joy, when you step into those states of love, and you step into those states of peace and tranquility, that you can really start getting those communications, you can start getting those understandings. And when you do that, you could be in a deserted island, but if you're in a state of joy, you're going to feel completely surrounded by love and peace and tranquility. And that's absolutely what happens. So I don't want you to wait. I don't want you to think, because what we do is we have these little things that fear. Anything that we have that's fear is something that we have hidden within ourselves. And what happens with any hidden fear is it grows. But as soon as you show it the light of love, it becomes the smoke and mirrors it is. So I want you to start stepping boldly into the idea of joy, boldly stepping into the idea of love, boldly stepping into the idea that you are worth living a joyful life of love. And once you start doing that just a little bit, start walking in faith. Because what is faith? Faith is knowing without seeing. Faith is certainty without having any evidence whatsoever surrounding you to really back it up. That's what faith is. So I want you to not wait. I want you to right now decide who you are and who you're going to be in the next space. And that's without you knowing how in the heck you're going to do it. Because we so have this idea that we are the ones that have to decide, or we're the ones that have to figure out how we're going to step into that next moment. But that's not our job. Our job is simply to decide who we are and who we're going to be in the next moment and what we're going to focus upon. It's as though we want to get out of the car and get under the hood and move the pistons. It's as though we want to get in front of the car and create the road. That's what it's all about. That's how we're actually thinking. But what it's all about is it's us staying in the car. It's about us setting our GPS setting by telling the GPS where we want to focus on, and allowing the road, knowing that the road is already prepared for us, and just simply steering the car in that direction, letting the car do it, let the road do what it does, let the car do what it does, and you do what you do. Because it's when we get into that efforted action, when we get into that idea that I've got to figure it out, and all of us have been in that situation. All of us have been in that situation where we have that one thing in life we've got to fix. And what do? We focus on that one thing and we just go over and over and over and over and over. Like, how am I going to fix this? How am I going to get this done? How am I going to move forward? And the issue with that is that the only thing that you can really process from is the experiences that you've had and the experiences of other people. But every moment is a new moment. Every moment really needs a space of where it has never been before. Now, how's the only way that you can really connect into what you have never experienced before? That's through spiritual connection. So every time that you try to take over and try to figure it out yourself is a space where you're not going to have clarity, you're not going to know how to move forward. So what do you do? I mean, that'd be what I'd be asking me. What do? You actually take your focus off of that one darn thing in life that you think you need to fix, and you focus on the parts of your life that are actually doing well. Because it's really amazing when you start focusing on the parts of your life that are going well and that are going joyful, the parts that you were worried about that you want to fix themselves. And I know I'm speaking a little bit of things off the holidays, but I really, we just go for bust a lot of times during the holidays. We drink too much, we eat too much, we do too many things, we spend too much money. And then we always, you know how it is at the beginning of the year, that's when everybody wants to pay off their credit cards, they want to go work out, they want to do all these things. And what I want for you to give yourself the gift of, what if I decided right now to start my New Year's resolution? What if right now, before Christmas even happens, I decide to be who I'm going to be in the next year? So let's see, I've really talked about the family tradition, I'm talking about the triggers. So yeah, Archangel Gabriel is really coming forth for us right now. The Archangel that's really dealing with, is the cardinal angel of the West and the elemental angel of water. And really talking about how to call forth, our new space, call forth, a rebirth, call forth, a new beginning. And I know that's usually in January, but I'm going to say let's call it forth really for this Christmas time and really start to learn how to step into those joyful spaces. I really want for everyone for this to be truly a beautiful holiday season. This is really a time of celebration. It's not supposed to be a time of stress. It's not supposed to be a time of you overgiving, overeating, overspending, over drinking, or whatever it is that you might have done, make the quality choices for yourself. Make the quality choices for yourself of what you will and will not be and will not do in this holiday season. If that means making people upset with you because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, then that's okay, because no matter what happens, the one person you have to live with for the rest of your life is you. And once you start learning how to take care of you, then you can start learning how to really take care of other people. Melissa, darling, are you about ready to come up and do your presentation? Okay, all right. We're going to have Melissa Posey come up next, and she's going to be talking about her crystal grids, and she's got one of her crystal skulls with her. I'm very excited.
I have a very present.
Oh, okay, all right. She has a presentation.
Well, I also have a beautiful assistant to show the grid for me, because it's hard to talk and hold the grid at the same time. So, we're talking about the families and the holidays. This is something that I came up for everyone, and this is a peace, love, and harmony grid. And the board is just something that I have personally, but we have a kit available that has like 8 quartz crystals on the outside, 4 on the inside, 4 stones on the outside, which are onyx, and then rose quartz in between the quartz crystals on the outside, and then a rainbow amethyst on the inside. And so what this does is it creates a vortex of energy, and it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds, and you can keep it in your room, you can meditate over it, you can put it underneath the chair, you can just put it under your bed, whatever's easy for you. And you can even set it up in your car if you want to. If you have road rage, that might be helpful for you. But the quartz crystal amplifies the energy, and it gathers the energy, and you see I have the points pointed counterclockwise. This gathers energy. If you point it clockwise, then it takes out energy. And then I have the rose quartz in between, which brings in the energy of love and calm and gratitude and self-healing, heart healing. And then the onyx, you'll see, is the black stone on the 4 corners. And the onyx is good for protection. It's good for calming, grounding. They're kind of scattered all over the board. But they're also good for psychic protection, so you don't have to worry about being like psychically attacked. You go to your family's house and you feel like everybody's just like nah. This is a really good stone to have for that, because it helps guard your energy, helps keep your energy contained within itself. You don't have to worry about anybody else pushing their energy on you, because that's something that happens a lot of the times when you're in family. They love you, they want the best for you, they want you to do well, and they also want to push their opinions on you at times, which is sometimes not that fun, depending on what your family is like. And so this black onyx helps with that. And then I also have a really pretty rainbow amethyst in the middle. And the rainbow amethyst is like a regular amethyst, but it's got platinum and gold bonded onto it, which gives you the properties of the platinum and gold also. But amethyst is a good stone for like addiction recovery, emotional, physical, any kind of drug, alcohol addiction. And then if you have somebody like you feel like you're addicted to someone, you're trying to break the habit, or habits that you're addicted to even, it's really good for that. And it's also good for knowledge, love, sleep. It's good for sleep as well. So you can either put this in your room, under a chair, and meditate over it, or you can carry parts of the stones with you. And you can keep this in your daily repertoire. So you can meditate over it, and then you can carry a stone, whichever one appeals to you the most, and keep it on you in your pockets, or I stuff mine in my bra sometimes. It's handy. They're good for something, right? And it'll keep the energy of that meditation and that grid with you as you meditate. So you can even put your hand in your pocket, or you can get it out and rub it. It'll remind you about what it is that it'll remind you of that feeling that you get while you're meditating. And so this is part of, I guess we talked about the holiday stress package that we're doing to help deal with holiday stress. And this is just stress in general, because how much many of us have a ton of stress in our lives. And stress is one of the number 1 causes of disease and death. You get stressed out, you get heart problems. You get stressed out, you get upset, you get angry, you get cancer. There's all kinds of things that stress causes. And so this is good for just in general, like every day, everything that we're, talking about here. And so I'm going to let Cassandra go sit down with that. I just want to show you guys this. And I love that she carries that. And another thing that I wanted to talk about, in addition to carrying the stones, are things that you can do to help yourself. You can meditate every day. We got a little package that does that helps you with that. And you can also ask questions. So one of the things that I'm working on is Access Consciousness. It's a class that you can take. It's kind of a way of being and a way of thinking. And the Access, one of their mottos is Access judges nothing and accepts everything. And they really mean that. And so when you can release that judgment about yourself, judgment about your family, judgment about, how much you're making, what you've got going on in your life, then everything gets better, everything gets easier. And also, one of the things that they talk about is that 99.9% of everything, our thoughts, feelings, emotions that we're feeling, is not even actually ours. It belongs to somebody else. And how often do you walk in a room and and everything's going good, and all of a sudden you're like, ooh, I feel really mad, or I feel really sad, or I just don't want to do that, and you don't know why. Well, part of it is you've absorbed something from somebody else by accident. And we're like electromagnetic, we're just human radio waves, and we pull all this into our bodies, into our thoughts, our feelings, and most of the time we don't even realize that it's not even ours. So one of the things that you can do is ask yourself, who does this belong to? Is this mine? That's a tool that they have in Access. Who does this belong to? Is this mine? And then usually if it's not yours, which most of the time it's not, it'll lighten up immediately, and you'll be like, and you can breathe again. And you can also ask yourself, how does it get any better than this? That's another Access tool. And all of this stuff, helps with your stress level, dealing with your family, dealing with friends, dealing with, how am I going to get this? I need to buy gifts for people. I need to pay my bills. How am I going to do all of this at the same time? And that's one of the things you can ask is, how does it get any better than this? So you ask yourself some questions, and you ask questions that don't have conclusions in them. Like, you wouldn't want to say, how does it get better than this? Well, if I had this, this, and this, then it would be better. That's a conclusion. So you just leave that question open to the universe, and the universe answers you. So if you can get into that habit of doing that and not come into conclusions, and then you can have more, you'll find that more and more comes into your life. Excuse me, I got a sinus stuff. But also one of the other things that I wanted to talk about is judgment. So we have these judgments of ourselves, and it also incorporates into every aspect of our lives. How much can we create? What can we do? We've been told by other people, we've accepted other people's judgments. And judgments aren't just bad, they're good too. And so you have to try to release these judgments about yourself and, decide if your family judges you about something, well, that's not me, that's their judgment. That's an interesting point of view they have. And that will also help calm you down and will help you to reach that neutral space. And so what I like to do is interesting point of view. They have that point of view. That's another Access tool that I've been using lately. And it helps you to just let go of the thoughts that other people are thinking about you, or even that you're thinking about yourself. Interesting point of view, I have that point of view about myself, or interesting point of view, they have that point of view about me. So those are a few tools. And also making sure you get enough rest. Rest is a very important thing. Sleep is one of the most important things in your body's healing process. If you can't sleep, then your body can't heal. If you don't sleep, then you get more and more stressed out. We all have a different level of sleep that we need. Not everything is the same as my sleep. My amount of sleep that wouldn't be the same as your amount of sleep. But we still have to make sure that we get enough sleep and we get enough rest. We take care of ourselves, and try to get some healthy food in, along with the holiday food that we all love to eat. Because I know I'll be eating too much of the holiday food. I've already started, starting Thanksgiving. So we need to make sure that we're eating, some healthy food in addition to, the food that we're eating with our friends and family, and also drinking a lot of water. Water is very important. It keeps you hydrated. It keeps your muscles hydrated. If you have a lot of body pain, chronic pain, you'll find that water will help with that also. And I think that was pretty much Paula's going to talk about today. I've got the throat thing, so I'm not really good with the talking today. So I'll let whoever's going up next. Also, I was going to tell you, you can reach me on Facebook, posyhealing.com. So if you want to contact me, I have been offering bar sessions, which that is another thing that I almost forgot to talk about that helps greatly with stress. So the bars are 32 points on the head, and you tap into them, and it dissolves like everything on a cellular level. So when you're working on yourself, you're also working on your family, your past lives, your current lives, your present, your future lives. And each point accesses a different aspect of your psyche, your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And I do this when I'm talking about it because those are the points on the head, and I'm like, remembering like when I hold the points on the head. But there's lots of like body processes that you can use. That's part of the Access Bars that I'm doing, and I'm offering sessions in that locally. And so you can reach me on Facebook, Posy Healing on Facebook. So thank you for your time, and I will let Cassandra come up next.
Thank you, Melissa, so much. We appreciate you. And next will be Cassandra Stone King. She's got some interesting things to talk to us about. So here we go.
Hey again, everyone. So one thing I wanted to touch on today that I know, especially for me as a mother, as a female that runs a household, as an adult in general, being part of a family, one of the biggest stressors that we don't realize that we put on ourselves during the holiday season is the fact that we feel during this time of the year an inability to say no. We have a hard time saying no to the PTA. No, I'm not going to bake 12 dozen cookies in the middle of, so-and-so's karate and the other person's ballet. No, I'm not able to cook 3 big dinners in a matter of 2 weeks for 20 people each sitting. We forget to say, no, I can't go to 3 holiday parties in one night. Or maybe the most important is those situations that we know are going to be beyond uncomfortable, the ones that are not necessary or conducive to our mental or emotional health. We have the ability to say no. We forget to allow ourselves this space and to value our time and our personal, situation enough to be able to tell another adult or another group of people, I am not available to you because I need to be available to myself. We go through all of this hustle and bustle between the middle of November to the beginning of January. It is chaotic, especially for people with big families or a lot of kids. We have presents. Everybody's buying all these presents and going out and shopping and all this food and all these things that need to be done. And the next thing you know, on top of your normal daily routine, on top of your normal working routine, on top of school or whatever else you have going on, you have this abundance of busy and chaos going on in your life. And instead of taking a look at that and saying, what can I responsibly do? What can I be 100% present in? And what is most valuable to me as an individual at this point in my life? Instead of taking a look at these things, these questions that actually allow us to be more of a efficient and productive human being, we say, yeah, I could do that. And no problem, I'll make these cookies. And yeah, for sure, I'll take all of the kids to go and do this and this and this. And absolutely come to my house. There's no problem with that. You and your girlfriend and your boyfriend and your 5 kids, sure, it's not a problem. It's okay. And I get it because I do that. I find myself doing that all the time. In fact, growing up as a kid, I had a mother. And God bless her. She was widowed. She was a single mother of 3 kids. And she said yes to everything. And we're talking like everything. She wanted to be involved in our lives so much and so overwhelmed by all this social responsibility at this time of the year that watching another person go through this was painful. And it was all to make other people happy and make life easier for other people. When in reality, that's not a necessity. I guess my biggest thing for you to remember during the holidays, that we are giving all these little tools and all these individual things to help us be a more productive, happier, put together human being during this time where we all feel like crazy Christmas monsters, is to remember that when these things are being brought to you, when someone comes to you and you have 5 things going on and 1 free day, and someone says, hey, want to do this? Let's go do this. Or, hey, can we go and we go shopping, or can we have a dinner here or do this here? What I'm asking you to do is take the responsibility and the love for yourself to refresh your spirit in that time, to be able to give yourself a ground to stand on and to sturdy your legs, take a long bath, drink a glass of wine, whatever you gotta do, and to say no. No, I don't really have time for that. And of all of the excuses that you can make up, being able to put the responsibility on these outside things of, oh, I can't do this because I have this going on, or, oh, I can't do this because I don't feel good. You need to be able to stand up and take responsibility for yourself in those situations enough to say, I'm sorry, this is only free time I have, and I really need this for myself. But I will be happy to get back to you. I will be happy to link up with you and do something some other time. We forget that by making these other excuses to other people, we're actually acknowledging that we feel guilty, and we should feel guilty, and it's okay to feel guilty, that we're taking time for ourselves. Especially at the most needed time of the year where we really need our own space. We need to recuperate, and our spirits need to be livened up and to regroup. It's one of those situations where we forget that we're people and human beings, and we only have a finite amount of energy that we can give out to other people. I think what's worse than not taking responsibility for our own selves and our own spirits is the fact that we forget that we only have enough attention as one human being to put into a certain number of activities, a certain number of people. So by expressing this need to be with all of these other people and doing all these other events, we forget that we're not giving them our 100% either. We're not doing the very best for the people that we care about and the people that we love, because we're not taking care of ourselves. Like Melissa said, it leads to, mental issues, depression and anxiety, which also leads to physical issues of getting sick easier, contracting that flu that's been flying around that you have so wonderfully avoided up until this point. You really need to take that responsibility for yourself. You deserve it. You're worth it. You're a valuable, wonderful, magnificent human being that everybody else needs to be able to experience. But you need to make sure that you're being able to give them that experience, as well as giving yourself that room to breathe and actually make it through the holidays alive. But that's my biggest point. That's one of the things that I find for myself that I have the hardest time doing at this time of the year. Presents can be ridiculous, family can be ridiculous, all these other things can be overwhelming. So I'm just asking you to take some time and to breathe. You're gonna make it through. January is only a couple of weeks away. It's not so bad. Just put a little bit more value on yourself, your time, and your presence. Thank you.
Sandra, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. So what I would like to do right now, I would like to do sort of a little bit of a closing ceremony with Archangel Gabriel to really help us to step into the joy of the season, take care of ourselves, learn how to give to ourselves, learn how to give to others, and learn how to receive. And I guess I didn't really speak before about I wanted to say just a few things about receiving. One of the first things about receiving is that you have to have your hands open to be able to receive the new. And the other thing is, if somebody is giving you something, if it's coming truly out of love, don't step into that person's pocket. Don't decide whether or not that person should be giving you that. If it's coming to you from them out of love to you, receive it. Because anything that anybody gives to you truly out of love gives to them as well. So be a good receiver as well as a good giver. First a giver to yourself, then a giver to others, but a receiver as well. All right, so what I'd like for everybody to do, I'd like you to put your feet firmly on the ground. If you're sitting, that's great. If you're standing, that's fine as well. Make sure that your spine is straight from the bottom of your tailbone to the top of your head. You can just put your hands loosely. I'm going to go ahead and hold mine up because that's sort of the way I kind of call in, but you can also put them loosely on your lap. We're going to call forth the energy of Archangel Gabriel to come forth for us. To help us to truly have a joyful season. If you can hear right now, I can hear the blast of the horn as she calls forth the birth of the new us. If you will, the birth of the new Jesus, if that's how you celebrate this season, but just the birth of a beautiful new day for all of us to celebrate. Let's just celebrate however we will this season, no matter, I'm very interdenominational, however you connect with the universe, however you connect with higher being. It's amazing to all of us as long as it's from light and love. We absolutely call it in. We ask Archangel Gabriel to surround us by the sound vibrations of the blasting of the horn. Allowing us to feel the love and the joy and the peace that is what this season is all about. Let us always be mindful before we make any commitments, before we spend anything, whether it's money, energy, time, or whatever it is during this holiday season. Will this bring me joy? Does this come out of love? And if you need the permission of the angels, I hereby, by the power of the angels they granted to me, give you the power to say no if it does not bring you joy and it is not a moment of celebration. And you can just tell those people that look at you weird, just say, the angels told me I can say no. If that's what you need to do, you're hereby granted that power by the archangels right now. Because if it does not come if it is not expressed joyfully, it does not come out of love, it's not going to do anybody any good anyway. So if you truly want to be a giving person, then give only out of love, and give only if it expresses joy at this season. I'd like to go ahead and ask everybody to come forward. We're going to go ahead and give you our information of how to really contact us. If you want to contact me, you can go to facebook.com, The Angel Encourager. The Angel Encourager. I'd love for you to sign up for my newsletter. I'd also like for you to take a look at my top pinned post, which is the Boost Your Brilliance plan. It's $5 a month. It shows you how Pete steps into joy in every single moment. Right now we have Mary Catherine Honeycutt. Darling, how can we get hold of you?
You can get a hold of me on Facebook. I'm Mary Catherine Honeycutt on Facebook. You can also go to the Lightworkers Celebration page and get a hold of me and Melissa. We are Lightworkers at work on the true2uradio.com, and that's how you can get a hold of me.
Excellent,
Thank
excellent. Melissa, you come tell everybody how to get a hold of you, darling. Hello, darling.
You can reach me on Facebook, cozyhealing.com. I also have another one, Cozy Stones, where it has some of my creations for sale. And the Lightworker Celebration, you can also get a hold of me there. And those are all on Facebook. And you can also email me on my business website, melissa@posyhealing.com. So those are the ways to contact me.
Excellent. Thank you, darling. All right, Cassandra. Hello, darling.
Hey, Cassandra Stone King, reader and spiritista on Facebook. It's facebook.com/LUZPROGRESO, right? And you could also email me at cjstoneking07@gmail.com. Any questions, concerns, comments, or anything at all, I'm here for you, babes. No problem.
Thank you so much. And so I would love for y'all to go check us out at zcedonline.com or at Empowered Joyful Living on Facebook, either one. Our contact information is on there. Love for you to hook up with each one of us. If you any of our energies that you thought was amazing, please do contact us. If you'd like to come for our next one, we're going to have another one in January that'll be posted on zcedonline.com. If you have anything that you'd like for us to help you work with, we would love to on there. And
don't forget, we also have an Empowered Joyful Living Facebook page. Talk to all of us on that.
that's right. All right, so check us out. All right, and for now, we're going to say goodnight. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thank you for all the energies that have been here. Have a joyful and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And find a way to find joy in every single moment. Like I always tell people, the first thing I want you to do, I want you to focus on what truly brings you joy and bliss. Don't focus on what you think is going to bring you to joy and bliss. Focus on what's going to bring you joy and bliss. I want you to step into the highest point of joy that you can, take inspired action, walk in faith, and I want you to watch your life change. All right? Bye for now. Love, peace, release.